for watching. I'm Prerna Agarwal, Technical Product Owner for The Guardian. Today we'll be giving you a short demo on policy differentiation feature. So we have introduced diff feature for the policies or schemas where you can compare the policies or schemas against each other in the following dimensions, which are blocks, transition between the blocks, or roles or actors. So as a result of this differentiation functionality, the Guardian should be able to produce a numerical score, for example, saying that these policies are 68% compatible or 800% compatible, as well as the list of all the differences between each of the policies or the schemas. Now, as you can see, we have added a new compare button in our UI with create and import. Now, as you can see, I have imported two versions of IREC, which is IREC 4 and IREC 7. Now, when I click on compare, I have to first select what would be my first policy and a secondary policy. So in the first policy, I would select IREC 4. And in the second policy, I would select as IREC 7. Now, once I can select both the policies, I can click on compare. Once you click on compare, you get a new compare tab after policies. And as you can see here, it says the policies are 71% same as they are both IRECs. And you will see like there are 5 sections for the comparison, which is description, policy roles, policy groups, policy topics, and policy tokens, and policy blocks. And you also see that there is a filter over here. There is an export button. There are 2 types of comparison view, which is tree. And so this is a tree view. When I click on table, as you can see a tabular form. But I would go with the tree comparison. And here, as you can see, you will see the policy ID of both the IDs name. This is for description. Now going here, you will see a comparison between the roles, as both the policies have the same role, which is the registrant. Then you have groups, as this doesn't contain any groups, it's empty. You have a topics. So as it's are both the same IRECs, it's an IREC policy, so the topics would be same. Then you have tokens, as this is in the draft mode. I don't see any tokens yet. But when you see the blocks, you get like each and everything, each comparison of the block. You can also extend each of the block and see what the difference is in the properties. And as if I extend this, that the comparison is same. When you see it's a green, it says blocks are equal, including the child blocks. And when you see the blocks are, when you see a half yellow and a half green, it says blocks are equal, including their child blocks. Like for example, when you see this as an indication to a block, it says the blocks are equal, including their child blocks. And when you see just all yellow marked, you see the blocks are of the same type and are partially equal. When you see completely red, it is the block is not present in the other policies. That's the reason you see the other policies, the same block is being grayed out. So in addition to this, we also have different filters over here. It says when you want to compare or filter with the events, you have a property filter, you have a children filter, and you have the UUID filter. Depending on that, you can compare each of the policy. So currently we just have a restriction of comparing 2 policies, but moving forward, we will be enhancing the policy comparison where you can compare more than 2 policies. To get a detailed description and a detailed information, we have added a documentation with policy differentiation using UI, as I have explained you step by step. You can also check in our documentation. And each of the filters description of their parameters are being already added. Here you can see we have discussed all the sections. So you can see what is the green indicates, what does the red indicates, and so on and so forth. So in addition to this, we can also compare the schemas. Now, as you can see in the schemas tab, we have added a new compare button. When I click on compare, it happens the same. You need to first select the policy, and depending on the policy, you get the schema drop down. And when I use IREC registrant and participant app, then I click on IREC 7. I compare the same schema from IREC 7, and then I click on compare. it happens the same. As you can see, the schemas are 100% same, which means that there's no difference between the schemas of both the policies. And the same thing happens here. It has whole schema fields comparison, which indicates the green indicates completely equal, and sub schemas are partially equal, yellow, green and amber, if it's all yellow or if it's red. And then you also have a UID comparison. To get more info, we have added a complete documentation over here where you see a comparison of schema and comparison view and what are the sections being added. So in addition to the UI, we have also added the APIs in the documentation for schema and also the APIs for the policy differentiation. Please have a look and let us know if you have any questions. Happy to help.